have a solution. The Whine No Whine Show, where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour, where we gather people from all different walks of life and perspectives, and we talk about everything that everyone has told you not to. Religion, politics, and everything under the sun. Nothing is off limits, and we do it all over a glass of wine. So grab a glass and join us as we save America, one civil conversation at a time.
3, 2, 1, action!
Hey, social media! Welcome to the Whine No Whine Show, the only place where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour. We work hard on that. I like this guy. Hey, that's rude. So we got a great topic planned for you guys today, and it's all hot and in the moment right now. I know y'all are going to just want to be chiming in on it, and that is there ever a time to be skeptical of sexual assault allegations? This goes back, we've been dealing with this. We've got Bill Clinton, we've got Harvey Weinstein, we've got Kavanaugh, I mean, like Trump, I mean, you name it. Everybody in their, brother's been accused of sexual assault these days, and, throw them all under the bus. That's what we're talking about today. Should there be a time when the allegations are, I don't know, I don't trust this one. Let's talk about it. Before we dive in, I'm going to be drinking some really tasty wine on the show today, and I think production's throwing a picture up of it, but it is a Sauvignon Blanc, a French wine we have here today, Bright Willow Winery. And just to give you guys a little bit about this wine, it's from the northern regions of France, and it's a light straw color in the glass. Light straw color, I can see that. With crisp aromas of lemon, green apple, and mixed citrus. Yeah, everybody grab it, take a sip, yeah.
Cheers.
The aromas pay off on the palate with a refreshing acidity, delicate fruit notes, and this is a classic Sauvignon Blanc flavor profile, is what we call true to type. So, it's going to have a nice kind of a dry flavor to it. It's a nice fruity flavor. So at the end of the show, we'll rate it, but we're probably going to be drinking some box wine between now and then. Yeah. So get the rating in your head now. That wine sucked. That tastes like a box wine. I would never have that again. So yeah, so get your rating in your head. We'll rate it at the end of the show. All right, so we're going to jump in, give our guests the opportunity to introduce themselves, say who they are, give a little shameless plug and that sort of thing. Whatever you guys want to promote. Keep it short. We're not writing books here. Yeah. All right. So just tell us a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to come back around, and I want you guys to tell me what your thoughts are on this subject, and we'll dive in from there. So, all right. I'll start with Jess over here, the veteran on the show.
A veteran. My name is Jessica Brown, and I am an interior architect. I practice here out of Houston, but I do design internationally. So if you are looking for any sort of interior design services, I do full architectural build. You can reach out to me. My website is jbiaonline.com. That's JB like Jessica Brown, IA Interior Architect Online.com.
Very good, very good. All right, Monique.
Hi, I am a newbie. My name is Monique Smith. Thank you, Joe, for having me here. I am an educator and passionate about these hot topics that we're going to discuss today.
Right on. We might have a new veteran on the show here.
Yeah.
Another newbie, Victor.
Hi, I'm Victor Cortez. I'm a partner here at Landscape Realty. I've known Joe for a long time through new home building, and thanks for having me on the show.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Hi, I'm Baby Kelly Serrato, and I was on the Whine No Whine show, I guess, about a month ago.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yep, a couple months ago, I think.
I've known Joe for about just a few months, I guess.
Yeah.
And I am a cybersecurity coach, actually more an executive coach that dabbles in cybersecurity to help people become more aware about their vulnerabilities. I am also an artist. I'm a vocalist. And if you need any help with your cybersecurity vulnerabilities, you can contact me on LinkedIn. You can find me under BB Kelly Serrato. Just Google me. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
Is there ever a time to be skeptical about sexual assault allegations? Is there a time that we should just kind of doubt them, you know, like saying, I don't know if this one should see the light of day? Or should we take all of them very seriously and let them go through the court process and, you know, get their time in court, so to speak? What are your opinions on this? I'm again going to go back to the veteran over here and give you the floor.
Okay, well, I believe that we should not be skeptical. I believe in due process, and I think every voice needs to have the opportunity to be heard. So regardless of the time frame, everybody has their own emotional obstacles. There's people who are living at 57 years old who are still dealing with emotional trauma from when they were 4 and have not psychologically been able to move forward in their life. So you never know when that healing process will take place and at what point they'll be able to actually go through it all the correct way. So I think that we should not be skeptical when someone finally gets the courage to speak out about their experience.
Okay, all right. What do you think?
I believe that you should be skeptical at times. You can never judge a person's motive, and there are times when people are or can be very vindictive and are driven by they want fame or they want to bring somebody down. So yeah, I believe that there are times you can be skeptical.
Okay. Victor.
I share the same views as her. I feel that you should be skeptical, just in reading, you know, previous cases of different people, and I think when you're gathering the facts and you're listening to the story, I think at that very time before you arrest somebody or endanger their career or publicly shame them, because you are going to be shamed, I think you should be skeptical at that moment. What is the accuser's motives? What benefit could she have? I mean, I think you have to look at the whole picture right then and there before you have potentially ruin somebody else's life.
Okay, Bibi?
I think there is a case for both sides when you can be skeptical or not be skeptical. I think that both sides of the coin need to be seen, for the simple fact that just to, for example, I'm a child of abuse, for one thing, and I'm very comfortable with saying that because I've learned how to deal with it over the years. However, for me to do anything now about that isn't going to change what happened. No. Okay, it's not, and I'm glad you agree with me on that. Mm-hmm. I know who my abuser was. You know, the thing that makes it worse is that it was a family member. Mm-hmm. Okay, is my, you know, doing anything about it now? 66, 50 years later, going to change anything? No. My healing came through therapy and, you know, dealing with that matter and forgiving that person and just moving on with my life. So there are different ways to handle it. Now, could I do something about it and have that person prosecuted? Yeah, I could. But my choice is just leave it alone and let it die, okay? I think it's just hard to know how to really approach that. But I think it's two sides of the coin. Yes, there are times when we could be skeptical or not. I have family members in my family that are skeptical now as to whether I'm even telling the truth. But you know what? That's their problem, not mine. So there it is.
All right. Wow. So we've got views all over the place. We've got some in between points. I think there's a lot of meat to discuss here. So guys, I know you guys on the feed have stuff that you want to say about this. So make sure you chime in and comment with your thoughts, because when we take breaks and come back from the break, we're going to dive into y'all's comments as well, make that a part of the show. So you're as much part of the show as the guest on the show. So right off the bat, I have a question for the skepticism side. All right. What does that look like? So let's kind of break that down a little bit, right? Obviously, there's a situation we're dealing with right now with you know, Judge Kavanaugh that's he's, you know, going through the process to be vetted, right? Well, he's going up for the highest court in the land, and it's a lifetime appointment. right? He's going to be there, if he gets in, he's going to be there till he croaks, right? Or, checks out early, right? But it's going to be on him. Is there not, like, at this point, is there not, like, a side where you say every allegation that's coming forward needs to be vetted, needs to be heard, needs to be tried because of the nature of that position being such a long-term position? And if there's
And powerful.
and if there's not, like, in other words, if you're saying, no, you know what, I mean, I just really doubt this person's validity, I think they're making it all up, right? If that's how you really feel, right, is there a point where you're saying, okay, they don't even get an opinion, they don't even get to be heard, if they're not coming forward with something, they don't get to be heard? How does that look to you guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a level where you're like, they get to be heard if they have this, or if they have that, or, you know what I'm saying? Is there something that gets them in the door, or is there a point at which you're like, no, door's closed, you don't even get to come through if you don't have...
I say they get to be heard if there's hard evidence at this point, right? I mean, in the arena that we're in with the hashtag Me Too movement, as well as the political outfall that this could be for him, I think it definitely needs to be hard evidence. I'm skeptical, right, about it, just because of the fact that there is no hard evidence, and there's stuff that this cannot be remembered as well. And I'm not saying that, she may be right, but let's prove it. Right? Let's prove it. Let's come up with something more to say that this is able to be vetted out in courts before we waste tax dollars.
My whole question would be, I mean, just, hearing the facts of that, not remembering, as bad as it sounds, why now at this time? I mean, he's already held certain positions. I'm assuming he's already,
federal court judge.
Yeah, I mean, he has an established career. At any point in time, she could have come out, before this. So it's, kind of begs the question, why now? Why?
But don't you think at some point you have to also look at her career? She's a PhD, right? She's a doctor. Why would she want to ruin her career? At some point, it probably was always maybe, I would imagine, a parallel of like, well, it's not worth me losing everything I have. Until it gets to the point now, wait a minute, this person's getting put in a national position of power. Something needs to be said at this point. I have an obligation to let people know.
So let me ask you. All right, so I'm going to I'm playing the fence as much as I can here. Right? In that situation, you say, why now? Well, what if there is a now? What if it's demonstrated that the person is pretty ardently anti-Trump? If the person has made very public statements that any Anton Scalia type justice needs to be shot down, if they've put that out there and they're active in the political arena, and now when it comes up with a Scalia-like, nomination, is there ever a point where you're like, yeah, that is shady? Or do you just accept all allegations?
I don't think a political view should disqualify you from something that may have happened in your life, because there's plenty of people, this nation's totally divided on Trump, and there's plenty of women who are coming forward. There's plenty of women who have come forward who have also have horrible things to say about Trump, so their political view should not matter, should not change whether or not they've been assaulted or not assaulted. Like, your politics.
So let me ask it another way. What I was getting at with that was,
does she have a political motive? Is what you're getting at?
Not just that. Well, I was actually going somewhere else with it. Is there ever anything for you where you're like, yeah, that's shady. That that definitely makes me have some doubt about this person's motives. Is there ever anything for you that would be that line?
I can say from a personal level, when I was in college, I know a young man who is accused with assault, and it was someone who is a very good friend of mine. It didn't seem at all in his character, and those
2 seconds. It's bothering me, Facebook. I'm sorry. You just got it. Okay, production. The lights are like doing crazy things, so we just need to fix it. It's me being terribly anal about the lighting. So, oh, sorry.
That's okay. So, anyways, he's
Because you're going to be like totally drowned out. And
yeah, it's okay.
So, yeah. I want you to look
pale
good.
regardless.
You're so funny.
Pella's Joe over here. So.
Right. I have a lot of surface area to work with.
Okay, but really, he's a great person, and those of us who know him personally were like, no way, these allegations can't even be serious. Why is this even going to court? But because she was due process, it had to go all the way through to court. Now, what ended up happening? What ended up happening was the boyfriend, she had a boyfriend, happened to find out about the relationship because he was having a relationship on the side with her, and the only way she could make herself save face from the boyfriend was she said, well, he raped me. I actually wasn't a part of it. So it did finally come out in court because she broke down in tears not being able to do that to him. And so at that, I was on the other side of it. I was friends with this person saying, no way, he would never do this. Like, this is insane. Why is this even happening? But we had to allow the process to go through and let the process go through.
So let me ask you, in that situation, let's say that he lost his job in the process. He got kicked out of school, right? And now it's like all the charges are cleared, but damage is kind of done, so to speak, right? And the community always still kind of looks at him sideways,
Suspect.
right? Suspect. Is there no fallout for her?
I mean, I can't speak for her. Obviously, this is where, you know, in the show, I always go back to my Christian faith. So I'm going to say her day in front of her maker is her day in front of her maker, which she has to own up to. And hopefully for him, if he can follow his faith, he can find forgiveness in his heart and move on with his life. And for those who can't move past that, then those might not be people who are meant to be in his life forever anyway. There might have been people for a season, and he has something in a different part of his destiny. But is there some sort of revenge or vengeance towards this woman for bringing those charges out? There wasn't. He did suffer a terrible reputation for it, and because not everybody got to hear the court case, so the rumors were very widespread around the college campus. And in the end, the truth did come out, and for the people that it mattered to, they know what the truth was, and for the people that doesn't matter, let them carry their own. I mean, if we all walk around the world worried about what people's opinions are of us, we're not going to make it very far in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't have a problem with that part. The problem I have is where that directly impacts his life for the rest of his life, his career, everything else, because I can't control what other people think.
I have a
Right.
problem
See?
with that too,
So-
because my concern here is that, let's say that this situation with Kavanaugh, for example, let's try to play out this scenario, okay? Let's say she comes and she testifies. Okay, now currently right now the scenario is he's going to testify first, and she's going to wait, and then what's he testifying to? He doesn't know, because he doesn't get to listen to her testimony. That's kind of putting the cart before the horse as far as due process is concerned. Because in these cases, generally, the accuser speaks first, and then the accused answers to what he's being accused to. Well, that opportunity isn't being offered. And he's somebody that's a judge who has heard these cases and how these things are happening. So we don't know what's going to happen yet with that. But let's just say, for the case of example, that they do allow this to happen backwards, okay? And things go in her favor. What's going to happen to him, okay? And then let's say, for the sake of argument, that it is a situation like Joe was talking about, and it ends up being a farce, okay? And she's lying, which, quite frankly, right now, I think that this woman may possibly not be telling the truth. Or she may be mistaken and have identified somebody else and not him, and that's a possibility, okay? And this all comes out later to be not the case. He's destroyed. he's probably going to lose his place as a judge, as a federal judge, and his career will be destroyed because he's in the public eye completely.
But lots of people who were
No.
assault were in public eye.
I mean,
we've just seen CEOs of major
sorry.
networks
Here's
and,
my
and
point.
organizations and
This
companies
is a
go
little
down.
bit different. This guy
Let each
is
other
at
finish.
the top of his game. He will lose
A lot
everything. He will lose everything. She will lose nothing. She will still be able to go on with her life. She will still be okay, better off than he is.
Do you think it? Okay, well,
Unless, of course, she gets put in jail for false, you know.
Slander.
All right, so
Slander.
So
we've got to take a break.
I'm
Got to
just
take a
saying.
break. When we go to commercial break, we can come back to this.
Right.
All right. Don't talk it through during the commercials.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, so guys, we're gonna go to commercial break. One of our sponsors. We always got to give our sponsors some press. When we come back, we're gonna dive in. Let these two kind of finish out their point here. It may take the rest of the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when we come back from break, we're going to try to get to some of your comments, and we'll dive in from there. So, all right, we'll be right back. Here's one of our sponsors.
Phil and Derek's Restaurant and Jazz Bar, located in the midst of bustling Midtown in Houston. You'll find a laid-back atmosphere and ambiance reminiscent of the comfort of your own living room, coupled with the flair of pizzazz and glitz from live New York-style cabaret entertainment 7 nights a week. Phil and Derek's is not only the ideal restaurant with a great, long-standing wine selection, but also with a full bar as well. Phil and Derek's stock and knowledge of wines from Napa Valley wines, French Bordeaux, Spanish and Argentinian wines, just to name a few, are the envy of wine connoisseurs far and wide. Phil and Derek's Sunday Brunch was voted Best Morning After Brunch for 3 consecutive years. Come indulge in the ample buffet of crepes, omelets, various salads, meats, complimentary mimosas, and much, much more. Enjoy delicious foods from the kitchen until midnight. We're equipped with large dining areas, ideal for every party need, whether business or pleasure. Come see and enjoy all that Phil and Derek's has to offer.
All right, welcome back to the show. That was Phil and Derek's, our sponsor down in Midtown. Awesome restaurant. Make sure to stop by and
Sunday
enjoy.
brunch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Sunday
The
brunch.
Sunday brunch is delicious.
Yes.
We were talking about how fun the place is, so definitely hang out down there, check it out, enjoy their stuff. John Cruz, owner of the restaurant, really great guy, good friend of mine. So anyway, back to the show here.
Yes.
We're gonna dive in just before the exit here, just before the exit. All right, we're talking about there was some definite disagreement going on here.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is all okay. So in response to he's at the top in the prime of his career.
Yes.
So have many. Look at the movie producers who have just been brought down. And I mean, as humans, we like to value somebody more than someone else, right? So there's deacons who are at the pastors who are at the top of their careers brought down.
Yeah.
Just because he's a judge doesn't make him more important than anyone else. The top of your career, no matter where you are, if there's something that has happened, you risk losing that. And there are people who have lost it.
But in this case, there is a possibility that he's innocent.
There's always, every case, there's a possibility the
In
person's innocent.
some of the cases with the producers, it was pretty much cut and dry that they had been doing some naughty things, okay?
So so that goes back to
Yeah.
what I think a few
When
people
to
have
be
voiced.
skeptical.
It was proof.
Right, exactly.
Skeptical.
I was going to say, we'd mentioned Bill Cosby, for instance, right? There's another one where, and we have the whole thing with the priests and the young boys and all this, right? So is there kind of at least like a tripwire, so to speak, where we say, you gotta have something to get through the door, so to speak. Where we're like,
Exactly.
is there any line for you at all where in other words, person kind of just roams in on the street and says, "Yep, that Judge Kavanaugh beat me up and raped me, and it was 40 years ago. And they're like, who are you? Well, I'm a friend of his from a long time ago. And you're like...
But there were things that were consistent, right? Like, they did go to high school together.
So that's what I was asking. So I'm
so
like...
there are things that do line up.
So this is where I'm asking. So I'm like, could a person start from zero? I'm saying, where's the line? What's the distinction for you? Is there some checkpoint? Could a total stranger that we're like, we can't find any evidence of this person connected to him ever anywhere in life? He says he was. He says Kavanaugh. She says she was a hitchhiker and he picked her up.
But that's the key.
And,
who can't find any evidence? Who can't find any evidence of there ever being a connection? Someone's doing the investigation to look for that evidence.
So, that's why I'm trying to ask you.
All I'm saying is I think there should be investigation. There should be an investigation.
Every single allegation, the person walks through the door, they say, I was a hitchhiker, and 40 years ago, Kavanaugh picked me up on the side of the road. Never met him before that, but he raped me in the car and left me for dead on the side of the road. And we're like, okay, so you never met him before that day? Is there any evidence, any information at all that to corroborate that you reported anything? And the person says, no, it was just that one-time thing, and it was the worst experience of my life, and I've been a homeless person ever since. Does that person get to enter into the debate? Is their case heard?
I think if any person truly believes in their mind that they have suffered from something, it is, I think, needs to have at least an investigation. Needs to have due process.
I'm trying to be ridiculous in my example,
but I'm just saying, like,
far-fetched.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, even a homeless person, they all have a story behind them. So no matter how far-fetched it sounds, someone needs to look into, is there truth to this or not truth to this? That's all I'm saying. You might find out there isn't truth to it, but nobody's worldly status should eliminate them from just finding out, is this true or not true?
That's not what I meant.
And that's not what I meant either.
That's not what
I think no matter what, if someone
So-
comes forward with any allegation, I mean, you yourself said you have family members who don't believe you.
And so let me
Does
ask you
that mean
this.
it's invalid?
No.
So let
Because
me
they
ask
would
you
be like,
this.
hey, that person is awesome, and I know him, and that would never happen. You're crazy. Does that mean it didn't happen to you?
So let me ask you
that's
this.
what people are. I mean, you can't invalidate somebody else's experience unless there's been investigation to it.
So let me ask you this. I'm trying to figure out, is there a line for you, right? So what would stop powers that be, right, of going and finding 100 people, right, homeless people, right, saying, here's $100, just come forward and say you were sexually assaulted.
Nothing
right?
would, because there's really
Right.
crooked people that do that.
Right? And after the 25th one, none of them, not one of them, had anything to substantiate what they were saying other than just their claim. Right? And after the 25th one, they say, this guy's obviously got, some weird, creepy thing going on where he's driving around picking up homeless people and raping them. You're out as a justice, right? Potential justice. Is there not at some point for you, is there not a line where we say, I can't just take every single person who walks through the door that says there was something going on? Is there any kind of, like, you mentioned some points that I feel are valid points where you're like, there was corroborating evidence. They did go to school together. There were some things that at least logically kind of get you through the door.
Right, so just do a little investigation. If it shows up nothing, it
Where's
shows
your
up
door
nothing.
stop?
So if it's
Where's the door stop?
that's what I'm
a great
saying. That's
question.
what I'm saying. Is there a
For
point
me, though,
where you're
the
like,
saying,
I'm
is
not
there
even going to
doorstop to not
investigate
even
that?
Look at it. For me, there's really not.
So I'm
So you don't
skeptical.
have a doorstop.
I don't, because
so I'm
for
skeptical
me,
on this issue, and I feel just like her though. I feel like everyone should have a voice. Everyone should be heard. Doesn't matter how far fetched or how crazy it sounds. Everyone should be heard. Now, on the flip side of that, it's like we were talking about some of the topics that we were throwing around probably didn't make it, but you're talking about public figures right now, or rich people, or established people, right? But what about the kid that comes from a broken family, that doesn't have the money, that doesn't have a lawyer, that doesn't have an opportunity to defend himself, and you're going against somebody that's more powerful than you, that's making up a lie? I mean, you always have to be skeptical for whatever reason, because it's so much deeper than just
power or.
If you don't have skepticism, you don't have any kind of, what am I thinking of? You don't have any kind of set point or guidelines to go
I just don't
by.
think the skepticism is balanced. Where was the skepticism for all the Michael Jackson accusers? That was automatic guilty. All these kids start coming forward, and this guy is a pedophile, 100%. No one said, wait a minute, is there a tripwire here? It was automatically. Bill Cosby, where was the skepticism for that? The second one woman came forward, and the next also, wait a minute, now we have 54 women? And everyone's like, sure, yep, there's 54. No one said, wait, is this turning into a snowball? Is this just now, let's just join in because this is a rich man and we can get something out of a class action? I think people change their minds of when they want to be skeptical, and I'm saying I'm skeptical across, I'm not skeptical across the board. When they came out for Michael Jackson or when they came out for the judge, either way, just do an investigation and find out what's going on. That's all I'm saying. I don't think people are fairly skeptical as much as they think they are. I think it depends on the situation, and then they decide if they want to be skeptical. We have the shooting in Dallas. There's a lot of people who aren't being very skeptical about that right now. So let's just be fair. It's not really a balanced skepticism.
Life isn't fair.
Life isn't
not
fair, but let's just be honest about it, that it's not a balanced skepticism. It's being skeptical when you want to be.
There's two sides of the coin of skepticism.
Yes.
It's a double-edged sword.
I think in your example, I think that there are going to be. I think your observation plays both ways, and what I mean by that is this: are there people that have a bias going in, whose skepticism just plays to their bias? Certainly, absolutely. I also think it's the there's the flip side of that coin, that there are people that are being skeptical healthily. If that's a word, how to say healthily, right?
Yeah.
Healthily skeptical, and they're applying it fairly, and that there are instances for those people where they're like, it's just ridiculous that we actually have to entertain this assertion. I think that there are people that approach that healthily.
So I agree with that, because that's how I feel about Dallas. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that anyone is even entertaining the fact that this isn't a cold-blooded murder. For anyone to even say, well, let's just wait and see, there must have been a motive, or there must have been something must have happened, or there must have been a feud, or there must have been, well, let's investigate and search his entire apartment and try to villainize this man first. How about it was just cold-blooded murder? So that part, yeah, that's my skepticism. So you're right, I do have a trip line, because right there I'm being skeptical, right? Like, wait a minute, why do we need to find all these excuses of why a woman just murdered a man in his home?
Okay. Right. We could have that conversation. There's another.
I don't
want to
talk about that topic.
On another topic, though.
But you caught me, because that's my skepticism.
Okay.
I am being skeptical then.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, hey, we had a great moment on the show. I want to jump to a comment. This is one of our moderators on our group page, shameless plug, the Wine to Wine Show group page, which is almost about to break 6,000 members.
Wow.
Yay!
Which is nuts. It's not even, the group page isn't even a year old.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, it's just grown like crazy. We're averaging between 16 to 20,000 comments a month.
Oh,
Wow.
great.
Which is just insane. I mean, that's just crazy.
That's awesome.
And Dee is one of the poor suckers that I roped into doing it for free. So,
So you better talk to her.
a glutton for punishment that she signed up to be a moderator on the page. And we shout out to the moderators, because they're moderating 20,000 comments a month.
Wow.
And they're doing it for free because they have a
amazing.
love for the mission of the show and all that sort of thing. So
That's awesome.
Thank you
Way to
for
go,
having me.
Dee. Way to go.
props to our mods. All right,
Yes.
so Dee says, my idea is that if there were more women that would have come forward for Kavanaugh, why would they now? She's under death threats, etc. Why would they now? She's under death threats. So, I'm not 100%, y'all help me out if y'all get it. I'm not 100% clear what you're saying, Dee. Mine is that if there were more women that would have come forward
like a semicolon after now.
for Kavanaugh, why would they now? She's under death threats.
This is in regards to the question that I was asking, why now? Why is she coming out now? Was she saying they're not going to come out because this woman has already received death threats, so maybe they've intimidated any other women that he could have?
But my thing is, here's why there is skepticism on my part.
Okay.
Because there is only one woman, right? And if the behavior was college, drinking, you know, that
High
sort of
school,
thing, high
yeah.
school, right?
He was
at
supposedly 17 and she was 15.
Exactly.
But one rape doesn't mean you have to be a serial raper.
She didn't say he raped
She
her.
didn't say you raped her, you're right.
Yeah.
One assault doesn't mean you have to be a serial assaulter. Just like one pedophile, one child is enough. One child, that's it. That makes you a pedophile. You don't need 100.
Oh, sure.
One assault.
I
makes
definitely
you
don't disagree with that.
One assault
Yeah.
makes an assault.
I definitely don't disagree with that. So the death threats coming in, you know, with that,
Yeah.
that certainly would. Which, by the way, I want to say,
Discourage other people from
I want
coming
to say, you
forward.
know, I am in the have a healthy skepticism thing. I think there's got to be I think there has to be some evidence to get through the door. I don't think we should have the opportunity just. This is politics. I mean, I could literally just go pick up people for $100 a head and start running them through the door and just say, "Yep, you were sexually assaulted." Just say that they picked you up hitchhiking, and you know, we'd have like 100 people through the door, shut down the hearings, and it would be here all day, and it'd be freaking $20 million to investigate all these claims and everything else. It'd be ridiculous. I will also say, on the flip side of that coin, that if somebody makes a death threat against a woman like this,
Right.
track them down, to spend taxpayer dollars, and let's throw them under the bus. Let's put them under the prison.
Yeah,
Right.
Right?
absolutely.
Because we've got to get past this point in America with this juvenile behavior of insulting each other. That's why the show exists, right? And then taking from insults to, I make the joke normally on the show, it's like, this is how I disagree with you. Okay, well, I disagree with you, so you're a Nazi. I'm going to go outside and set fire to your car. I mean, like, well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like, my God, we'd flip out on people like that. And so the fact that they're getting death threats, good Lord. I mean, if it were my wife and I found out who you were, I'm just saying the police.
Joe's like, this is gonna be death threats.
That's a
I'm just saying that we would have
Two wrongs
words.
don't make a right.
We would have words.
We'd have words. Yes.
We'd have words. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I want to just be clear about that. So I want to condemn that plainly.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get to another question here. Helda Martin said, we are still vilifying victims. Look at how they treated Anita Hill.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
that was another thing. Yeah.
Right?
You should not still be on the court. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've had the specifics of that one. I really try to only hold an opinion that I've researched.
Right.
I followed this one closely, and she was vilified.
Oh yeah, well
100%.
I that part again. This is the death threat things again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like, look, I can totally not believe Miss Ford. I can totally believe she's lying. I'm not going to threaten her freaking life,
Right.
right? I'm just going to say you're being used by your political party
Nobody's
to accomplish an
life should
end.
be threatened.
Right? That's retarded.
That's
That's
just
just
ridiculous.
ridiculous. So
I don't
I'm
agree
sorry.
with that.
I have a big problem with that. So yeah, so in that sense, I can definitely agree with that comment that we as a nation have that ridiculous tendency to vilify people, and you know, look, here's the thing with Ford, like they're calling her, well, they're pointing out or going to her promiscuous past, right?
Oh, that's just wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
just wrong.
I'm like,
That's
let's,
vilifying.
I'm like, let's pretend that she's the
That's
biggest
fine.
tramp.
Nothing
Let's
to
just
do with it.
let's pretend this for a second. She's the biggest tramp that's ever walked the planet. I mean, like at the drop of a hat, she'll be in the back of your car,
I mean, we have
right?
a president
So
like that, right?
hang on. let me make this point.
So it doesn't matter, man or woman.
Let me make this point, please. Let me make this point, please. Let's pretend that's the case. Does that invalidate the person's ability to say no at any point
No.
if they chose to?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Right?
Doesn't matter.
Of course not. So why the hell are we bringing it up? Why is that even an argument? And if you are hearing somebody and nodding your head when they're making that argument, yeah, she's a tramp, right? You should be ashamed of yourself. Stop it, because it's got nothing to do with the point. I can totally I could totally believe, say, you know what, she's a tramp. We've seen her hook up with a million guys. So, if this guy wasn't the guy she wanted to hook up with and she said stop, that's still assault and maybe rape. And so none of the other situations have anything to do with it.
Right.
So get that, clear that off the table, because it messes up your argument. Just like for me, on the other, again, being skeptical, I'm like, what the hell's that got to do with the argument? The flip side for me is going, okay, you don't have any corroborating evidence, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to be equally skeptical in that situation and say, no, I have a problem with that, just the same. So anyway, be fair.
I just want to be clear. I'm not
fair.
on either side. I just want to hear a fair due process. I just want to hear a fair investigation. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's good.
I'm not one
No
way
problem.
or the other. I just want to hear it fairly investigated.
Yeah, and I, you know, all I was trying to get out of from your point was there a limit
Is there a
to
limit? Which we achieved. There obviously I do have a limit.
So there we go. All right, Ricky
Everybody has a limit.
Ricky Mittman said, if there is an accusation, it should be investigated. Yes, every time. So there's another comment from the comment feed. That was kind of where you started out with. Ricky, I would ask you the same question. Every accusation? Every? Is there a limit for you? Is there a trip line? Is there a door to get through? Or is it just make the accusation, get heard? And what would stop someone if you're in the position of saying every accusation gets heard? What would stop our wonderfully, I mean, we know all of our politicians are 100% honorable and they would never do this, right? Why are they laughing? Why are they laughing?
Even I'm laughing.
Oh goodness,
Ricky.
And I'm a centrist.
What would stop our honorable politicians who would never do this from going out and just picking up, you know, anybody they could find and slip them 100 and saying, just come forward and testify. They picked you up. You were hitchhiking. Make it up. It doesn't really matter because every accusation gets heard. And after the 50th one or 100th one, they go, look, this guy's got such a long list of people coming forward. Obviously, he's got a serial problem. We obviously we can eliminate him as a candidate for the Supreme Court. What would stop that? If you can give me a good answer on that, I might buy into what you're saying. But I don't think that there's a good answer to that. So, but anyway, I'd love to hear it. All right, we've got to take. What time is it? What's the clock? All right, look at that,
Yay.
dude! I am on the nose. We got to take a break. It's 6:44. We got to take a break. We're gonna go to commercial break, and when we come back, we are gonna play Fact or Fiction. Ooh. Crown a new champion. Y'all are gonna get a trophy. They only get to hold it for like 20 minutes, so then the show's over.
Victory dance.
So we're gonna take a commercial break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor, and then Fact or Fiction. Hey everybody, Joe Orsak, host of the Whine No Whine Show, and I'm here with my special new guest, Dean DeBassi, brand new sponsor of the Whine No Whine Show. Can't wait till he gets to tell you all about himself.
Hello everyone, my name is Dean DeBassi and I'm with First Choice Loan Services. We close all of our loans on time. We have great rates and low fees, and we have push button get mortgage. All right, just kidding. Just kidding. In all seriousness, folks, we are a boutique mortgage lender, and we lend in 49 states. We choose not to play in the commoditized lending world, such as push button get mortgage. There is no such thing.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Compton with JLA Realty, Houston's fastest growing real estate team, and I'm very pleased to announce that I'll be opening a new office in Spring, Texas. One of the things that I depend upon with my business is being able to refer my clients to a lender that I can trust, because that can be the difference between them being able to buy the home of their dreams or not being able to buy a home at all. So, you know, I've always referred my clients to Dean. He always takes care of them. If you're thinking about getting a home loan, do not go with one of the big guys where you're just going to be a number. Give Dean and his team a chance.
I am a certified mortgage planning specialist. Less than 1% of all your originators have that designation. So, if you are seeking a mortgage and would like to experience a true boutique mortgage experience, please call the number below or go to DeBassiLoans.com. Let us show you why First Choice Loan Services is leading the mortgage lending industry.
Welcome back! You caught me! You caught me pouring wine out of the box! I'm still trying to get Bella to sponsor the show. Bella, hook me up. I'm just saying, come on.
I know, right?
It's the pre-show lube, as I like to call it. All right, so we're going to play Fact or Fiction. This is the way the game works. You guys hop in, pull up the messenger on your phone, and chime in with your comments, fact or fiction. Play the game, because in December, I am going to be giving away $250 to the Fact or Fiction winners that are playing the comment feeds.
Wow.
Little Christmas money.
Nice.
And
Yay.
so getting people used to the game right now, so they can play along. All right, so I will ask a question, and you have to answer fact or fiction. If you get the question right, you stay in the game. If you get the question wrong, you drop out.
Do I get to phone a friend?
Get
a lifeline.
Right. I'm going to stop saying this. Like in the last show, I said, now I start off a little easier, and then we work our way up. And we only made 2 questions, and everybody was out.
I know, right?
And I'm like, oh, I felt so bad. I was
right? I know.
So we get a lifeline.
I got them both
One
wrong.
lifeline.
So these may be really hard. You know, that's the nature of fiction. It's always easy when you know the answer. So it's hard when you don't. That's how it works. All right, so fact or fiction. A torch is seen in the Statue of Liberty's right hand. Oh. Fact or fiction? Oh my gosh, y'all, it's fact.
Oh, I get like left hand.
I thought it was a left hand for shit too. Is it not like that?
Oh my God.
Twenty movies and film reverses.
I know,
I listened
right?
to one of the audience members.
Okay, we have to do
All right.
that again.
All right, I mean, everybody out. We've got to try another here.
Oh my
That's our
goodness.
lifeline?
Keep it going.
This is because of Bella.
It's all Bella's
There you go.
Bella got us.
Oh, look. No, oh, see, you know why? Because we're facing it head on.
We're facing it.
And so we're like this.
Yeah. I was thinking about looking
You
at
know
it,
what I mean?
and I was
We're
like, yeah,
this.
it's
We're all
fine.
thinking of looking at it, and we're like,
Yeah.
this.
Your
Oh
other
my
left.
God.
Yeah.
Your other left.
So much for the easy
Your
part.
other
Yeah.
left. Oh my goodness.
We need an easy one for us.
Wow. Oh my God.
All right.
Okay.
That was a first.
All right.
You know, I thought about it, and I almost did fact, and I was like, no.
All right.
American government was a long time ago.
All right, fact or fiction? There are 23 pairs of chromosomes in the average human body.
I cheated.
I was just going to call you out on it too. I'm like, no cheating. All right,
23, right?
fact.
Oh,
There are 23 pairs.
I was thinking alphabet. Look, I said that with confidence.
I
That
Yes.
is my
I
biology
looked at the
degree
teacher.
right there.
Yeah,
I
there we go.
thought there's 26.
I found my
I said
friend.
alphabet.
Look, I was
Get
like,
that wrong.
All right. So
Yeah.
we got 3 in, 1 dropped out. Fact or fiction? Wisdom teeth are your second and final set of molars.
second, it's third. Set of molars.
Is that 2 questions?
But it is the final.
Mm-mm.
There's your
It's
final
the second and final. Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's your final.
It is fiction. Sorry.
Yeah, because
Fiction.
it's not the second, it's the third
It's
Yes.
set of
the third
molars.
set of
It's the
molars.
third
That's
set
what
of
I'm
But they are the
molars.
final.
Yes.
I went to dental
Y'all two
school.
both out?
Yeah.
Except you.
Monique over here.
Choice, I
Yes.
guess.
You got it.
So we have a crown champion
We
here.
have a winner.
Yes. All right. So
Because it's biology and dentistry.
That was easy.
how many biology dentists do you get in the show? All in one shot here. So, BB, you are the
Oh, wow.
you are the crown champion, the 2002.
You mean Monique?
Monique. Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Baby Monique.
Sorry, I don't even know why I have BB in my head. You're the 2002 Texas State Final Party Wear winner.
Oh, party wear.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Party wear.
Oh
yeah,
my
I
gosh.
like that.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right, so
I still have some of this, so I can actually rate it well.
all right, yeah, we got to rate the wine. So I wanted to. Do we have earlier before the show? We have a couple live studio audience guests that came by to hang out. I was going to ask if you guys had any questions or comments you wanted to throw in before we did any audience comments or anything else. We're going to wrap up then the show. But you had comments before the show.
I had a comment, and then it just kind of got off onto different parts of the conversation. I had a comment when she was talking about when people were asking like, why now? Why do you come out 30 years later?
Yep.
And she was talking about like women not feeling safe. And my point was that 75 to 80% of women never come out.
That's
Ever.
true.
There was an environment where it was safe to come out because almost 80% of women never tell anybody at all.
So for those who can't hear the behind the scenes comment, the statistic was given that 75 to 80% of all women never come out. But because there was an environment that allowed for bringing it out, that's why now. So absolutely a valid and good point.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you know.
He's talking too.
Huh?
But
Oh, but he's a guy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry! I totally had to do that. I totally had to do that. Sorry. Identity politics on the show. No. All right, so one more behind the scenes comments. I will fill you guys in when it's said. Okay, so Jeff, behind the scenes here. What's your comment?
My fear of politics in general is that we don't know what's going on. And my fear is that there are incentives built behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yep.
And
So the truth gets hidden.
my other fear about that is that the counter to those incentives is awareness and knowledge. And so now, does the incentive to come out counterbalance the awareness? So I look at a guy like Kavanaugh, and I don't need to pontificate too much on you, but look at a guy like Kavanaugh who is
We have the Harley going behind the scenes here too. So anyway, I will turn the mic.
Actually.
Right? Yeah. I'm turning the mic your way just to hopefully you'll get more.
I'm so nervous
audio.
right now. My worry is that Kavanaugh, who is literally being elected as one of the most powerful people in the world. That when you're on the Supreme Court, you are literally one of the most. It's the most balancing power for the most moral decisions that this country makes. Right? So let's do our due diligence.
Yeah.
Like, let's make sure that the motives are right. And for us to judge in the popular in the court
of popular opinion, yeah.
Court of public opinion is way off.
Yeah.
Like we can't say because everyone else has an opportunity to come out that she can come out. I'm sorry, but the Me Too movement started a long time ago. The only time that we heard about this was during the hearings on the third day of hearings of a Supreme Court justice. The third day of hearings. So I question the motives, but I'm willing to hear the due diligence.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Excellent behind the scenes comments there. All right, so, and I actually had a question. I was like, man, would this be a good question to go out on? Then I got sidetracked with the rest of your comment. Good stuff. What the heck was it, Joe? Come on, I got to remember.
Hand up,
terrible.
squeeze. It works.
All right, hand up, squeeze.
Hand up and squeeze. Squeeze it several times. Keep squeezing.
I think I'm even more now distracted.
Now fast.
Okay.
Squeeze.
Maybe you should do small circles.
Do some jumping jacks real quick.
No, just squeeze your hand and it'll work. I trust trust me.
There's too many other distractions.
Twist in the wrist.
Like you're milking the cow.
Now watch. It'll
With a rebel yell. Sorry, that's a totally different thing. I just remember the lyrics to that song.
Okay, plug Bella again. Plug Bella.
So.
There it is. There it comes. It'll come. Trust
Time
me.
to rate the wine.
Yeah, we're gonna rate the wine.
And then the question will hit them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's usually a delayed reaction, but it happens.
It's killing me that I can remember that. Yeah. So okay, let's talk about the wine. Let's do this.
It'll hit them right in the middle of the
When
wine.
almost fails,
Yeah.
go to
You
the
watch.
wine.
It'll
I know.
Bright Willow Winery, which I will tell you after the third glass is harder to say than you think. Bright Willow Winery. Bright Willow Winery Sauvignon Blanc. There's a lot of "wah" sounds in that. 2016 French wine from the northern regions of France. That's what we had today on the show. And if you've already drank your glass, it's like, see, they reached for their glass because they still have some. They're amateurs.
No,
We killed ours like in the first 5 minutes of the show.
We know what we're doing. We're waiting, right? You still have some?
I killed mine during the priest.
No, I waited because I have to drive.
Did it say, what were the notes?
All right, so the notes
said
were
lemon.
no, not pine.
Said lemon or-
We had straw glass in the color. Maybe that's what you're thinking. Crisp aromas of lemon, green apple, and mixed citrus.
Yep.
Get that at all.
Yeah.
I getting that.
Yep. Delicate fruity notes. I definitely taste the lemon and the green apples. I
So do I.
definitely, yeah,
I do too.
yeah. So so I don't want to bias the panel.
And I like that it's on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've sucked at mentioning the sponsor. Thank you for pointing that out, Jeff. So we are shooting live
I
here
absolutely
from
love
the
this.
Grain Cellar in Humble.
Yeah.
Very cool
Grain
place.
Cellar,
Very,
so cool.
very
Hey,
cool spot.
Come check it
Yes.
out.
It really is a very cool place. If you
Nice.
ever wanted to know anything about brewing some beer, making your own wine, this is definitely the place to come check out. Lots of knowledge.
And equipment.
Yeah, lots of knowledge, lots of equipment, all the stuff you ever need to do all your own brewing. And so I did a terrible job of pointing them out today. You should have seen the last show, though. It was on point. We throw them in like all over the place. So anyway, what do y'all think about the wine? We're going to rate this on a 1 to 5 scale. 5 grapes is your top rating. 1 is your bottom rating. So what is your rating? Jessica, will go from this side over.
Okay, I'll make it fast and sweet. I don't usually like dry wines because to me they are hard going down, but this is smooth
Yes.
and sultry. So I will give it a 4, only because I don't like dry. If I liked dry, I'd give it a 5.
All right. Monique?
And I am a dry wine lover. So
Ah.
I definitely give it a 5. And I love fruity as well. So this is good on all of that. Dry, fruity, sweet, and smooth.
Outstanding.
Yes.
All right.
I love Sauvignon.
Well, just the opposite of you guys.
Bon.
You don't have to disagree on everything, man.
As you can't, I finished my glass really quick. No, it was really good. I'll give it a 5 as well. I was impressed.
No problem here. I'll give it a 5.
Yeah.
Wow. I will tell you that
Sultry
I had this bottle once before. I gave it a 4 the first time. I was like, this is a very solid wine.
It is.
I was very happy. I'll tell you, the second bottle was better for me. It actually, it's not that it was a huge difference or anything, but it's subtle difference. This was a little less on the first bottle had a little more of a bitter kind of a bite to it.
Right.
It's a different year.
No, same year. And it was, again, subtle. It was a subtle difference. I gave it a 4. It was really solid. I am absolutely a 4.5 on this. I really enjoyed it. To me, this is what I like to call a patio wine. Starting to get into the fall
Easygoing.
season,
Yes,
that type of
yes.
thing.
Nicely
Sit on the
too.
patio and drink it. Good stuff.
It is.
So, wrapping up, another great show. Really enjoyed all of y'all's comments. Some good comments from the
Do
comment
you remember
feed.
your question?
Huh?
Remember your
Oh,
question?
not yet. We'll end the show and then I'm going to remember. So,
You're just gotta be on the lookout.
yes, yes. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be live tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And you may have already seen the logo. We introduced the show with the new logo, The Art of Dispute, because we're going to be going to TV.
Wow.
So we're getting picked up by a local TV station here in Houston, and that's going to be happening in December. And the show is going to be called The Art of Dispute, because it's a mix of the two shows. We will have an artist on the show, so we're going to have an artist or a musician, either one, and it's going to be somebody local here that we're helping promote and and that sort of thing, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of a combination of the two shows that we've been doing, which was the Wine No Wine Show Artist Edition, and this show. So it's a mix of the two. I'll be hosting, and Chris is going to be a co-host, and we're going to have an
that's
artist
the
on.
clinkable moment.
It is.
Yes,
It is. But you can't clink with
I
it.
know.
That's why.
Against the
Well, that's
rules.
good. That's enough to clink.
All right.
Just a little bit,
From
for
as well.
just a
All right.
touch, just a little tiny bit,
And I
because I'm
still have
driving.
some of that
Just a
Sauvignon
dribble.
Blanc
That's
here.
it.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Which is
All right.
awesome.
It's against the rules.
Clinkable
Click.
moment.
Hey, go on your TV.
Go on your TV.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Woo!
See you tomorrow at
Cheers.
2 o'clock live for the Art of Dispute.
Yes.
We're out.
Dispute.